What I got to say right now is very succinct and straight to the point. Marvel, you ain't shit. I love you, but you ain't shit. That was a petty ass move that you pulled today. I can see the comments now. Some people saying, well, if James Gunn was wearing a shirt from dtmerch.com, they never would let him go. They said, you got values, man, wearing that classic black dude with the white logo. We got the jerseys, the backpacks, all that good stuff. Hey, you know, we never change our values around here. We value your money. And we would love for you to subscribe or donate or anything to help keep us going. I appreciate that. Toronto is coming up. That is going to be May 25th at the Adelaide Hall. Doors open at 6 p.m. Show starts at 7. It's going to be a night of comedy, games, and music. If you've been keeping up with the news, if you love movies, if you keep up with entertainment, chances are if you didn't see it, then a friend sent you an article. You saw it on your phone or something. James Gunn is hired back by Disney. And I can see kind of why. He's hired back to do the third film of the series that's pretty much credited almost solely, people say, with his vision.
So here we are.
Are you telling me the fate of 12 billion people is in the hands of these criminals?
You know, you got that one person out there who right now, I didn't know he was gone. Where you been, man? You know, so you're the guy that needs to recap. So just to last time on James Gunn, he was fired for putting out from this series for putting out what they say are indecent and offensive tweets, pedo tweets. You know, he's making a bunch of jokes about little boys out there about having man love with little boys, and you know that's something that we don't really talk about today. So he left, and the moment he got out in the parking lot, DC just rolled up. I'm like, hey, baby, where you going? They caught him like he was a runaway at the bus station. You know, I don't think he made it home, but they're like, hey, you know what? Get in the car. Let's talk. And next thing we know, we hear that he's directing Suicide Squad. I'm the kind of guy, I don't like to say, I told you so. But I told you Marvel loves fucking with DC. DC can't do anything without Marvel's like a bully. DC can't do anything with Marvel like coming around the corner in the hallway. Where you going, DC, huh? Where's your lunch money? You know, they love when DC got a trailer come out, Marvel got to drop something within 48 hours later. You know, they release a movie and Marvel's like, well, you know, we got a big ass story we trying to tell. You know, a few weeks later, they got a movie. I know it's seeing, and Kevin Feige is always talking about, not Kevin Feige, whatever his name is. Like, no, you know, we support. We love those guys. You know, no, it's good for everybody, but you should love fucking with them when they do something. And this, what we have right here, with what they've done with picking up and rehiring James Gunn, that is you. I know I do this all the time, but really, that is strictly like The Last American Virgin. Y'all, you know that movie I'm talking about? Like, DC had just hired James Gunn. They picked him up. They gave him a job. They treated him real nice. They put him in good graces with the public again. Made him kind of a hero. Put that man back out there. And then I'd be damned if DC didn't walk up in the room and just saw Marvel making all out with that girl. DC got this look right now. I thought we had something. You know, it really is something like that, man. It seems petty. This is What they did with James Gunn, this is like, and you guys have been in this before. This is like you breaking up, you dumping your girl. You know, you treated her bad. You talk shit to her. You told her you straight up said, I don't want to see you no more. And then she starts dating somebody else. And all of a sudden, what do? Hey, babe, I just realized I love you. You know, can we talk about it? I mean, you think we can get back together? You know, and the thing is, you want to get back together. It's not even for her. It's not because you love her. It's because you hate that guy that she's dating. When we say Marvel, what we really mean is Disney. And when we say Disney, in this particular case, what we mean is Alan Horn. And this guy, he's the one that, this man, he made a whole production about making James Gunn an example. He's the one that put out there, and you remember the articles. This is months ago. This is back in June of 2018. You can see I got this on Deadline, but there were articles all about how Alan Horn was talking about how James Gunn, what he did was offensive, indecent, and doesn't represent the Disney brand or the Disney name. They went out to make a huge statement about this so they can make an example out this man. And wasn't gonna budge on it. You can see the quotes right here. Disney responded quickly and decisively. The offensive attitudes and statements discovered on James' Twitter's feed are indefensible and inconsistent with our studio's values. And when you hear values today, whenever you hear a politician or, an executive talk about values, they usually mean morals. This doesn't reflect the morals of our studio, Disney, who at one time was in bed with Harvey Weinstein. But hey, our values mean a lot to us. And what that man, James Gunn, did is irresponsible, indefensible, and inappropriate, and very offensive. I get upset when I hear this. That's why I'm saying it's a happy day for people out there. You know, and it's funny too, because I look at this, and the whole irony of this is Alan Horn talking about how he was upset about James Gunn out there making jokes that the company didn't want to represent and couldn't put up with, and was against their values. For a man who told jokes that you hated so much, he sure is getting the last laugh right now, isn't he? There's a lot of people out there who are laughing at this whole situation because it never should have fucking happened in the beginning. You know, with what's happening right now, the biggest winner is James Gunn. The man is getting Marvel and DC checks. He's not leaving this project here. He's still on this. He's contractually obligated to do this. So, I mean, and that's fine, because once he's done with this, he's jumping right on to another project for Marvel. The man is winning. This whole thing ended up for all you moral superior people out there, all you high-strung conservatives who couldn't put up with a joke. Look at what happened. When I say that James Gunn won, happy for him. Completely happy for him. This is a great thing. I know it might seem just not like another piece of just trivial entertainment news, and we're just cheering on a guy who's out there about to get rich, and we get nothing from it, except hopefully a good movie. But it's bigger than that. Bigger than that. But I will say I am very happy for James Gunn. I'm a little sad for Taika Waititi. He's the one. This they say is a joke, but I think he actually thought he was about to direct the next Guardians of the Galaxy. He even put out a tweet today. What the hell? I thought I was going to do it. Y'all laughing, but I think that was serious. I think because a lot of people were putting him on, saying, "Hey, that's the guy who could pull it off." And actually, I still feel like he could have done it, regardless of what you want to say about his jokes. He is a gracious person. And look, I'm not going to sit up here and like try to name drop anything like that or try to say, hey, I talked to James Gunn. But we did one time. And I'm not saying that to like brag. I'm looking at this on aisle 9 right now, Gizmodo, where they're talking about how he's back. Talked to him years ago, back when we did our site Spill. He called us up when he was producing a video game on the phone. You couldn't have talked to a nicer guy. Called at like 9:00 at night. No pretensions about having his handler or his manager or his assistant set up the call. I got to go through them before it happens. No, it was just him. And it was him at the time when he already had a name, and he was a very nice guy. Further that example of him being a gracious person, and the first thing that he did, he got online and he thanked everybody. He didn't get on and be like, you motherfuckers, I told you. He got online, he was just like, he sent out a tweet. I am tremendously grateful to every person out there who has supported me over the past few months. I am always learning and will continue to work at being the best human being I can be. I deeply appreciate Disney's decision, and I am excited to continue making films that investigate the ties of love that bind us all. I have been and continue to be incredibly humbled by your love and support. From the bottom of my heart, thank you and love to you all. Because if it had been me and Disney called me back, it would have been like, you goddamn right, you should have done it in the first fucking play. I would have been mad. I can't handle that kind of stuff as well as he can. I would have been, I wouldn't have been on the job. I would have been talking shit. I would have got fired a second time. To see him being as humbled as he is, it felt good. And don't get me wrong. A lot of people, I'm not the kind of person that defends indiscriminately. I definitely didn't like the jokes he told, but I wasn't really offended by them. I just thought that they were kind of terrible jokes, and I thought, why is a guy so? Because he told a lot of little boy pedo jokes, man, and I was like, why are you so obsessed with telling these jokes? It just seemed to me like a guy who was taking like this shorthand sort of shock humor and found it in a certain area, and just wouldn't let up, and they weren't funny. But here's the thing about him saying, I'm going to grow as a person. Let me tell you, everybody out there who looked at these jokes and said, well, that speaks for a person when they do something like that. That really is kind of revealing to who they are. Well, he told pedophile jokes and those aren't funny and he should know better and no one should joke about anything like that. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something right now. Sit your ass down. Let me tell you something. I don't care who you are. I don't care how high you think of yourself. You are not the same person you were 10 years ago. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago, probably. I know I'm not. 10 years ago, I was a horrible person. People, that goes my career. But no, everybody changes. Hell, I probably got a 12-year-old listening to this right now. You were shitting on yourself 10 years ago. Everybody changes, man. And to come up here and to pull up something from someone who, maybe it wasn't good, but they were that person at that time, and they've apologized for it. They said they've changed. This is why this is bigger than him. The internet has brought in people who want to. Who I don't know what it is, man. It's something about being on the internet and wanting to feel good about ourselves, wanting to feel better about ourselves. And it's not because we're looking at some cute cat picture or we're looking at some inspirational phrase or something that day or a nice story. No, it's because we want to look at other people and look down on them and judge them. And because the internet is so fast with everything, we want that judgment swift and immediately. And this is why I said I was never really concerned about James Gunn in the first place. I was concerned about the situation after him. James Gunn was going to be all right and is going to be all right. After James Gunn, because we saw this. It might have been after Suicide Squad, but probably before he got the job. This movie was already done. Brightburn. He's producer on this. Actually, this is like James Gunn looking at Marvel right now. I'm back, motherfucker. But y'all fired me from the first place. This is he was gonna be okay no matter what. It wasn't like he was gonna stop working. His career wasn't ruined. I wasn't worried about that. I was worried more about the precedent that this was set. not only for entertainment, but for society in general. I know it sounds like I'm talking, bigger about this than it probably should be, but you don't understand, man. You look at history, throughout history, what was happening with this trend of bringing up old things, decade-old things on the internet, or a decade-old thing, even if it is 5 years ago. We talked about this with Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart told jokes at one time seemed kind of accessible. You probably have family members that told that were gay jokes at a time when telling gay jokes were things that you could do. I look at some of the things that people talk about with James Gunn and criticizing him, and then they defend something else. I look at, but this is to give you an example. Let me see here. I'm typing it up right now because I just thought about it. To give an example, I see some of the same crowds of people who want to talk about James Gunn and, well, he did do it, and those things really say something about a person no matter how long has passed, are the same people that go in and defend something like Revenge of the Nerds. Revenge of the Nerds is a very homophobic, sexist, almost racist kind of film. I'm not saying it should be banned. I'm not telling people they shouldn't watch it, but there are people who say, man, why don't people lighten up and just realize it was a different time? Why don't people just let it go, man? But same thing applies. That there are people who made that movie with those sensitivities. And then you have this today with James Gunn. And then, you can't cherry pick what you want to accept as that was something that's done in the past. That's just a part of his time. And then look down on somebody else and say, oh, you're not allowed to change. People did things when sometimes things were more socially accepted. Now, if you went off and you raped somebody or, something like that, you can't just say, well, that's just, that was just the time. Ain't never a time for that. But there was a time when you probably made a sexist joke. There was probably the time when you even made a racist joke. I know we don't like to think that those kind of people can change, but they do all the time. But we don't want that because all of us want a villain to satisfy ourselves for that, that immediate satisfaction. Like in the chat, Ray is saying that, and it does, that Revenge of the Nerds straight up glorifies rape. It's still out there. Y'all trying to remove Michael Jackson from songs and everything, and meanwhile, you got a movie out there that's showing you rape. I'm just saying, man. I'm not arguing for censorship to get rid of one thing, but yeah, hey, come on, man. There's a big double standard out there for things that we like, and that saving that, and things that we don't like, get rid of that. It was getting to a point where we were entering a new phase of condemning people for no other reason than just moral superiority. If you know history, you look back at McCarthyism. This was a different sort of form, or it could potentially have been, or could be even, a different form of McCarthyism, where people are just singled out for one thing, maybe even sometimes falsely, and their livelihood is taken away from them. All because one or two people somehow called the shots on something and said, I don't like that, and we're able to actually manipulate people into backing up their twisted opinions. That's what Senator McCarthy did. This guy was insane. And yet he got people to somehow fucking back him up on this witch hunt for people who believed in communism. Now, while this might not be something as political as that, it is something where people are actually going through and doing witch hunts on people and digging up information and saying, you know what? I don't like this person. I find them offensive. And I think that we should take them away from their presence in entertainment or wherever they are, and we should ban them from doing certain things. That is dangerous, people. This is not about a celebrity anymore. This is about creating a way of thinking that could somehow, I don't like to always go along that slippery slope argument. I don't think that, I'm not going to go deep with it, but it does. Think about someday somebody decides to pick up something on you, your boss sees it, and meanwhile society has this way of thinking that, if something old is brought up, then hey, it's got to judge you today, and you lose your job. And you can't get another one because somebody found a joke that you told 10 years ago. That's insane. For a huge corporation like Disney to come in and do a reverse decision like this actually sets a better example and hopefully a better standard and showing that, yeah, people cannot be held accountable for something they did a long time ago. You have to judge things individually, and you have to judge people by how they are now. Now, also, we'll say that, there's probably some I'm sure there's an element of shallowness behind this too, because, that's another thing, people. When you hear anybody talking about these high morals, these high so-called values, look, don't let anybody in Hollywood tell you about morals. If morals were so high in Hollywood, the shit wouldn't exist. You wouldn't even have Hollywood today if morals were so high. Fucking Mickey Mouse is right in bed with Harvey Weinstein. And they gonna sit up here and talk about morals when they knew good and goddamn well that this man was out here raping people all these years. You think they didn't? No, they didn't. Because he was powerful and he was making money. If you are going to pick on James Gunn for a joke, then fucking Thanos just snapped half of fucking Hollywood out. They're not even there anymore. If you're gonna judge people by what they said in the past, everybody from Tarantino to Mel Gibson with his werewolf-looking ass should not be working right now. I'm not picking on these two guys. Actually, I'm picking on Mel Gibson because the motherfucker he really ain't sorry about the racist shit and the anti-Semitic things that he said. He ain't really apologized for that. And I still think he's crazy, but he's working because he's a powerful guy in Hollywood and he's made money for people. He's already an institution. So it's hard to budge him. But when you got somebody who doesn't have as much power like James Gunn, that motherfucker was a sacrifice. They took him up to an altar and took his heart out and held it up for y'all to see and say, this is how you are if you ain't big enough to play the fucking game. Yeah, and Kaliman. They sacrificed that dude because he was a smaller name. Just to show, and it was not only just to show power, but this whole moral thing, it doesn't exist. People, it's all based on money and business. Disney had an image. Their values is not because they believe in that. It's because there's this non-existent thing of values with their audience, and people who see the Disney name. It's supposed to be family friendly. It's supposed to be inoffensive. So once they had this news come out with James Gunn, they just didn't want to. They just didn't want to tarnish their name because not values their name because they didn't want to lose any money. It's all about we don't want to deal with your shit. We don't want to lose business. We don't want to hear you complain. I'll say what you will about Michael Jackson, but this whole thing about taking Michael Jackson like out of The Simpsons. That is not something that they're doing because they feel like we're doing it for all the victims out there and because Michael might have touched little boys. No, it's because they stopping it before you start complaining. It's a way of just saying, shut up. We did it. And this is why this is bigger than James Gunn. I'm not getting paid for him to go work on Guardians of the Galaxy. He's going to be all right. I could care less about the business part of it. It was the double standard that they had. This whole thin veil, this lie that they had of doing something out of doing something right. It's funny how these people, they come in here and they try to do the moral thing so they can do the right thing and then end up doing completely the wrong thing. Don't let any of this fool you, man. All these things about morals and values and shit. It goes all the way from politicians to executives to people to entertainers. And yes, even your people in the church. Ain't nobody really, I hate to be cynical, but nobody really has a high set of morals when it comes to surviving and making money and getting by. I'm not sitting up here like giving Disney a standing ovation for what they did. I mean, it shouldn't have been done in the first place. That Mouse shouldn't have been fucking with him in the first place. But but it does set. Yeah, look at him looking all innocent and shit. He's about that money. Yeah, don't you sit up here and fall for that cute, them big cute ears, them big friendly eyes. I'm all about my money, bitch. That's what it is. It's business. It's all business. We're gonna be continuing this discussion on Sunday. When we do our Sunday service, So, we'll get a good roundtable discussion about it when we do this on Sunday. But I just wanted to come here and talk about it myself because like I said, I didn't want to let time pass on this topic right here. And it's something I did feel really strong about. I know I talked about James Gunn and say he shouldn't have been telling the jokes, but I did say, man, if there's one thing I can't stand, it's hypocrisy, man. The man it never should have got here. I don't understand. And that's another thing with this. It probably brought him back because they realized not a lot of people can fill his shoes. It's his vision. They probably were thinking about the probably a potential backlash when the movie comes out. Everything's a business move, man. They brought it back because somewhere they thought that there was going to be some bad business to be had, that they were going to lose money somewhere. It was going to be a pain in the ass for them. They did not bring him back because they care about James Gunn. Again, I hate to sound so cynical, but that's not it. But I'm glad they did it because now people see, hey, shit, if Mickey can forgive, then we all can, right? Yeah, I mean, that sounds silly, but it's true.